some more.
Yo, what's good, people? Izzy Max here, back again for some more MDL content. This is season 4. Ended up finishing second in season 3. No, this is season 3. Ignore this. This is actually season 3. I finished second in season 2. But yeah, this is just going to be kind of a team breakdown on my end for my specific team. The PR video will be recorded hopefully Sunday and up either that night or Monday evening. And then games start the week after. So we're going to get right into this. The season is starting, and it's looking like it's going to be a really, really good one. So without further ado, I got the 13th pick out of 14 coaches. So I was kind of able to get that pseudo wheel pick. And with my first pick, I went ahead and went with Tapu Lele. This is a Mon that I believe is kind of hidden from the other teams. It didn't get drafted last season, and it didn't really get looked at for a transaction Mon either, as far as I'm aware. So I was really happy that it fell to me at 13. I used it in VGC and Sun and Moon a lot, alongside Drifblim and Mandibuzz. So I'm really excited for this thing, really to see kind of its potential, and hopefully I can build a decent team around it. But since I do have that pseudo wheel, the pick came back to me pretty quickly. And another Mon I picked was Blazephalon. So this is, I believe, one of the only non-psychic type Pokemon that actually gets Expanding Force. And it's coming off a respectable special attack stat with decent speed and the Beast Boost ability. And it also has 2 very good stab options in Fire and Ghost. So I'm just very excited for this one. These 2 Mons don't share a lot of weaknesses with each other. So I'm expecting these 2 to put in a lot of work. One of the things that I was trying to accomplish while drafting this team was not getting Mons that I've used before. I've had Colossal in 2 seasons. I had Dragapult in 2X seasons because it was the Shadow League. But I've kind of been using Mons I've been comfortable with, and I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. Finishing second was no easy feat, but I do see that season as an accomplishment, and I kind of wanted to, like I said, kind of get out of my comfort zone and try new Mons. So yeah, started off with these 2, decent core, and my next pick on the way down, I picked Giggleth. Decent anti-Trick Room Mon at base 25. It is going to underspeed a lot of those Trick Room sweepers that sit at base 30. So I was super happy to get Giggleth. It is a sand option as well, and there was a lot of weather actually drafted this season. That was one thing I wanted to do, get weather, terrain, good speed control, Trick Room, Tailwind, and just all sorts of things on this team. So Giggleth kind of sat there. I was afraid it was going to get picked by Dark King because he did get the Draco Zolt, but he ended up going with that Powdon, which I thought was a great choice by the looking at how he used his tier 2s, because in this league, unlike last season, we only get 2 tier 1s, 3 tier 2s, 3 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, and a tier 5. So it caused some harder drafting situations. So I think the Hippowdon fit with him. So I was able to end up getting the Giggleth here, which was super good. Again, a sand option, hits decently hard, and just kind of gives me an anti-Trick Room Mon. And then moving back up, I grabbed Tangrowth. So I was looking at grass types, and I wanted a really good grass type, but there kind of wasn't any in tier 2, and I had plans for my lower tier pick, so I didn't really want to drop any lower for one. I wasn't planning on drafting Redirection this season, but seeing that Tangrowth was still kind of just sitting there, my only other option was really Tangela, and like I said, I didn't want to draft him on just for its Redirection. So Tangrowth kind of gives me that middle ground in if someone's running a Sun team, which there are only one of them, I believe, maybe 2 of them floating around this season. I know at least one is in my division. I'll be able to go for maybe a Chlorophyll mode. I can also do the redirecting. It does have Regenerator, and it has respectable attack stats on really good bulk. So overall, just really happy with Tangela. Couldn't really say anything better about it. going back down again for my next 2 picks, I grabbed Umbreon. Looking at my team currently, it's not incredibly bulky, but I do kind of like that Psychic, Ghost, Dark fighting combo. Those 4 typings are kind of, I believe they're important to have. With me setting Psychic Terrain myself, I do need a Mon to kind of mitigate some of the either counter Psychic stuff or Psy spam from their team as well. So this Mon's going to be able to switch into Psychic Terrain and do very well. And it's got decent bulk, like very, very good bulk. This thing is very hard to take down. And can be respectable on the attack side with Foul Play, Snarls. Can't get faked out. Blazephalon can't get faked out. I have the Terrain. So I just really liked Umbreon. Again, never used it, so I really wanted to give it a try on this comp. And then, like I said, I really like that fighting type with these other 3 type cores. So I went ahead and picked up Halucha. This is my Unburden user. For the dark type slot, I could have gotten like Thievul or Liepard, but I think Liepard might have already been taken. But I really wanted Halucha for kind of 2 reasons. 1, it's an Unburden Mon. Well, 3. 1, it's Unburden Mon. 2, it's a fighting type. And 3, it gets Tailwind. So if I go Unburden Tailwind with the Lele, or just be able to set up Tailwind because it's decently fast on its own, I believe I'll be in a really good spot. My speed tiers aren't outstanding, but with Tailwind, they become very, very good and threatening. Also, this Mon's a flying type, and you'll notice kind of going later in the draft, my team does kind of start to become decently weak to ground, but I do have that Tangrowth and the Halucha to kind of mitigate some of that ground damage coming out. But overall, super happy so far with where we're at. Moving on to the Klinklang. So this is my tier 5. I dug really early for the tier 5. If you notice, I still have 4 picks. I believe it was 2 tier 4s. 2 tier 4s, a tier 3, and a tier 1. And at this point, most of the tier 1s have already been drafted, so there's very few competition for that slot. I believe it was me and 2 others, and based on their comps, they weren't getting what I wanted in tier 1, so I went ahead and skipped it till the end of the draft. I was second to last pick, so I could just kind of sit on it and kind of get these value picks in the lower tiers. And before I picked Klinklang, Matt ended up picking Sock, and knowing that tier 5 was just a mosh posh of not very good Mons and Mons that you will probably never prep for or hit the field, I believe Klinklang was one of the better ones. And shout outs to the Reggie Geezers in the MBC. The first time we played them, they led Klinklang Mr. Mime. And me and Ryan were like, okay, they're setting Trick Room. They brought a decently slow team this week. But no, it was a shift gear Klinklang that potentially could have swept us if some RNG didn't go in our favor, but whatever. So I was really satisfied with Klinklang. It does give me that Trick Room mode next to the Tangrowth, or also next to the Tangrowth, I have shift gear. So if I'm bringing a team, actually, I'll get to that later. My next pick was Glacial. This is the first pick that I actually really got sniped on. So this was going to be the Pillow Swine, but Burst took it he had the first overall pick. So they took it with the pick right before it came back to me. But I'm actually extremely happy with it. I'm more happy with the 2 Mons I got. Because I did have to change up my next pick because the tier 4s that we're going to grab were Luxray and Pillow Swine. So I had to pivot out of that, and I ended up getting Glacial. Really good bulk, base 60 speed. Maybe with like room service, it could be in Trick Room, or with Tailwind, it hits decent stats. It's an anti-hail Mon, and it's got good bulk. It's got really good bulk, really good special attacks. Maybe I can use it pretty well. I don't know. It does kind of fit the same role as the Frostmoth did for me on a kind of a different level. And I use that pretty well, so hopefully I can use this Glacial to kind of the same effect, but it's not going to be apples to apples with the Frostmoth. But like I said, I was looking at Luxray before the Pillow Swine was taken, so then I pivoted away and grabbed Toxicity for my electric type. The Luxray would have fit really well because it would have gave me Intimidate and some different item choices, because it could have ran that Flame Orb. And it also has Snarl itself. But seeing Toxicity still on the board, I really wanted to grab it. This is a mon that Tay used, I believe it was Season 1. And I just really liked this mon. I liked how he used it. I liked when I was kind of helping him build in the beginning of the season. I liked how it felt. Really good spread options. Can be ran physical. I do have the Tangrowth to kind of sway away some attacks from it. It is quad weak to ground, but I'm not too worried about it with the Tangrowth, the Halucha, and basically the Umbreon is decently bulky. So I'm hoping to use it really well, but only time will tell. It's a good mon, hits really hard, good ability in Punk Rock. So moving on, and this is why I kind of messed up, but my next pick was actually the Sandslash. So Glacial Sandslash was going to be the Pillow Swine, but we ended up separating them to get a separate ice, separate ground, and then pick up Toxicity instead. But Sandslash, decent attack stat at base 100. I mean, I know it's going to miss a lot of the calcs, but it is a sand abuser. At base 50 speed, it could either be in the sand or in a Trick Room option. So super happy with that. And then my last pick of the draft was the Dracovish. Now, I kind of got roasted a little bit for picking this instead of the Excadrill, but what's the fun in picking Excadrill in a sand mode? I wanted Dracovish. I believe it gave me a little more flexibility in what I can and can't hit. Excadrill usually only covers steel ground, maybe bug, maybe something like X-Scissor or something, and then protect, or with an AV set you're running like Drill Run, no, not Drill Run, the Oko move, the Drill Oko move, whatever it is. But I felt like Dracovish gave me some different options to use. It could be, you know, in the Tailwind with a Choice Band, or in the sand with a Choice Band, or a Life Orb, or just Scarfed. It gave me some decent flexibility, and kind of rounding out my cores with my Fire, Grass, Water, the Blazephalon, Tangrowth, Dracovish, Fairy, Dragon, Steel, and the Lele Dracovish, Kling Clang. And I just felt like it rounded out my team really well. None of these mons overlapped in typing, which was cool. I believe the only type I didn't get was normal, but who cares? It's normal. So yeah, really happy with the team. And I have one last slide here, kind of going over the kind of obvious combos. So the first one is a 4-mon combo that if all 4 come, you have to be terrified of what I'm leading. So with this, you have the Lele Blazephalon, which is the Psy Spam mode, the Lele Halucha, which is the Unburdened Halucha, maybe setting Tailwind or, you know, trying to do things itself. You know, it does get Brave Bird and Close Combat, which are really good moves. Even though Halucha doesn't have the best attack stat, those moves still hit really, really hard. And then I also have the Tangrowth Lele. Maybe Lele wants to sweep that week and you can't fake out the Tangrowth because of Psychic Terrain. And Tangrowth also does get Grassy Glide, so if the one person in my division with the Grassy Terrain and the Rillaboom wants to kind of reset my terrain, I do now have priority Grassy Glide off of base 100 attack stat, which is respectable. The next option I've already talked about, which is the Tangrowth Kling Clang. I could either set up Trick Room or set up a Shift Gear with the Kling Clang all in kind of one fell swoop. You also can't lower the Kling Clang stats, which is kind of cool. So that's an awesome option. And then, of course, my sand mode with the Dracovish and the Sandslash. I just feel like this team is super flexible. I could bring a mixture of mons, like I said. Maybe I bring the top 4 with the Kling Clang and I don't know, maybe the Giggleth, or I bring the top 4 and the Giggleth and the Sandslash. Well, now you're thinking I might even set up Trick Room. Or, you know, I could just do a whole lot of things with just the mons you see here on the screen. And that doesn't count the ones I have in the back, like the Glacial, the Toxicity, the Umbreon, and just kind of mons like that, you know? So I'm super excited for this season. I feel like I have one of the better teams. Granted, I am very biased because it is my own team. But like I said, I'm feeling very strong in what I drafted. And I feel like it is going to be very hard to prep for itself. My first week's opponent is going to be M-Burst, so best of luck. And yeah, we'll see you in the breakdown, which is hopefully going to be Sunday. And the starting week is going to be a week from that. So without further ado, peace.